Hello and welcome back. Today, we delve into cases of innocent individuals executed due to miscarriages of justice. Legal flaws throughout history led to irreversible outcomes, costing innocent lives. In the upcoming episodes, we'll shed light on these injustices. Stay tuned as we explore these vital yet somber topics. James Lee Beathard's conviction and subsequent death sentence for his involvement in the 1984 murder of Jean Hathorn Sr., his wife Linda Sue, and their 14-year-old son Marcus in their mobile home near Groveton, East Texas, raised significant concerns about the fairness and reliability of the criminal justice system, particularly in Texas. Beathard was convicted without any physical evidence linking him to the crime scene, such as fingerprints, footprints, or blood. Beathard's conviction was largely based on the testimony of Jean Hathorn Jr., who, motivated by inheritance, implicated Beathard in the murders to shift blame away from himself. Hathorn's credibility was further undermined when he recanted his testimony, admitting that he had acted alone. The prosecutor, Mr. Joe L. Price's statements and actions during the trial, including ridiculing the defense's argument and emphasizing Hathorn's credibility, suggest a lack of impartiality and a focus on securing a conviction rather than seeking justice.
Hathorn might be a cold-blooded killer, but there hasn't been any evidence in this courtroom that says he is a liar. He is telling the truth.
These were the words of Mr. Price to the jurors. Sure enough, Beathard was convicted and sentenced to die. Several months later, when Mr. Price tried Jean Hathorn, he employed sarcasm and questioned Hathorn's credibility, ridiculing his assertion that James Beathard committed the murders. This time, Price told the jurors that if Beathard's telling the truth,
then I'm a one-eyed hunting dog.
Price highlighted the implausibility of Beathard, an inexperienced individual with no prior violent behavior, carrying out such a crime. Here's what Price said.
Okay, and here was this old boy that had never shot that pistol before, going into a house he had never been in before in his life, to attack two people that had some advance warning he was coming. Does that seem a little bit strange to you, Jean?
Thus, Jean Hathorn was also convicted and sentenced to death. Beathard's court-appointed lawyer was criticized for not being forceful in presenting the defense's case, which may have contributed to Beathard's conviction. Jean later, however, recanted his testimony, admitting he acted alone and exonerating James Beathard. Despite this revelation, Beathard's request for a new trial was denied by the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals due to the strict 30-day window for presenting new evidence post-judgment. The comparison drawn between Joe L. Price and Jean Hathorn underscores a lack of regard for truth in their actions, both contributing to wrongful convictions. While Hathorn used a gun, Price utilized the power of the state of Texas. The story of David Castillo's conviction for a crime he may not have committed is a tragic tale underscored by the lack of adequate legal representation. It begins with the robbery and stabbing of Clarencio Champion at the Party House liquor store in Mercedes, Texas. Despite surviving the initial attack, Champion succumbed to an infection caused by medical malpractice, leaving behind a grieving widow. In the aftermath, David Castillo, an 18-year-old with a troubled past, becomes the prime suspect in Champion's murder. However, the evidence against him is circumstantial at best. There's no direct link tying Castillo to the crime scene, and even the forensic evidence is inconclusive. Pedro Garcia's testimony, pivotal in securing Castillo's conviction, is called into question by his family's long-standing feud with the Castillos. Without adequate legal support, Castillo's defense fails to fully explore these dynamics, leaving doubts unresolved. Castillo's defense is hampered by financial constraints. He received only $500 from the state for an investigator, and the trial court rejected his lawyer's request for an additional $600, stating there was no legal obligation to provide more funds. As a result, critical witnesses who could potentially undermine the prosecution's case, like Pedro Garcia's uncle, Oscar Garcia, remained untapped resources. Rob Owen, a death penalty appellate lawyer, asserted that a proper investigation would have needed $5,000 to $10,000. Mr. Sutton, Governor Bush's criminal advisor, acknowledged the difficulty in determining the cost of a thorough investigation 17 years prior. He added,
"We do everything we can to put up enough money to represent these guys."
During the trial's penalty phase, Castillo's family members, who could have provided mitigating testimony, are unable to participate due to financial constraints. Even those who do testify are ill-prepared, their statements failing to effectively humanize Castillo in the eyes of the jury. This is what David Castillo's father, Juan Castillo Sr., said in an affidavit filed as part of his son's unsuccessful state habeas petition. Despite these glaring deficiencies in Castillo's defense, the jury swiftly delivered a death sentence. Mr. Sutton expressed the opinion that the sentence was fair and supported by the case record. The political climate and public pressure surrounding the case, particularly during Governor Bush's tenure and presidential campaign, may have influenced the handling of Castillo's case, potentially compromising the pursuit of justice. David Castillo's story serves as a reminder of the profound consequences of unequal access to legal representation. In a system where financial resources often determine the quality of defense, the most vulnerable are left at the mercy of a flawed process, with life and death stakes hanging in the balance.